what does it really mean to get ourselves into the goodness of the Lord, into the presence of God? This is something I think every single one of us kind of wants to know, like, what does it really take to get into that? Because sometimes you learn the scriptures or you'll find some stuff, but you don't really know how to get it into starting to feel it and getting it into, the emotions and feeling better about your life, feeling happy, feeling joyous, feeling loving every day that you wake up. This is something that I was interested in, and I really feel like I found something that can help you guys, help me too, help us get into the presence of God and really understand what this is. So for myself, a lot of the times I would learn some scripture or I would learn something, but it's hard to keep that in you. It's hard to really get that into your heart and soul, but it's also hard to really fully understand that feeling. You want not just that it's a feeling, but you want to be in the goodness of God. Sometimes you feel like you're kind of just grasping for straws as you're feeling pressure, anxiety, stress. But there is a powerful thing that can help us not just instantly get rid of that, but start to fight against that stuff and get more into a grounded, present, peaceful, loving, joyous, faithful state. And what this really is being able to encourage yourself and being able to say and have the words of God coming out of your mouth. Now, this concept, it comes from a lot of things, but it comes from one thing that I heard from David Goggins, which he said in his book. It was Never Finished. What he said is that he would always do this little technique where he would record his voice. He would self-record his voice in the morning when he woke up to hear his doubts, his negativity, the things that were telling him that was making up excuses, the laziness, all that. He would record it in the morning, and then that would basically allow him to hear it back and hear all the freaking excuses that he was making, all the things that he was making up to try to get out of what he wanted to do, and not wanting to run these freaking marathons that he runs. He's an amazing, if you don't know David Goggins, he's this person that runs all these crazy marathons. And so he would record it, and he would actually be able to hear it. And he said after he would record one of getting the truth out of, like, he's feeling down, he doesn't really want to do it, he would listen to it back and realize when he listened to it back, he was embarrassed. It's like he wouldn't want any of his friends or family or his relationship partner to be hearing that, because it's just filled with all these doubts and negativity and all these excuses. So what he would do is re-record it right after. And he said, if you were trying to motivate a loved one or somebody that you really cared about, how would you really speak into there? And he would speak it out differently and be able to get a grasp on that internal dialogue, and not just that, change it and start to shift it, and it becomes more of something that you catch that internal dialogue and you're able to shift it into what you're actually trying to get into, building that mindset of strength, of relentlessness. So that is the same concept that we can do with God. Do you understand? I just really had this realization that that is what we are doing. And the reason I had this realization, let me think about it real quick. It was this morning. So I was listening to, oh, no, hold on. It's very important here. But the realization just came to me. Okay, hold on. We're getting somewhere here. We can get it here. Well, I was thinking about Jonathan, and there's a story of Jonathan in the Bible. I'm real sorry about that, but this is so good. I really want to give this to you guys. I was thinking about the story of Jonathan in the Bible and how there's times where I would start speaking it out into, oh, okay, here it is. So I realized that right now I'm trying to work on, for my communication, the tonality, and the tonality is basically being able to speak in more of a loving, joyous, peaceful tone. And I've been practicing just like speaking between there. But what I realized, here's the thing, here it is. I found it for you guys. I'm gonna give it to you guys. So I realized that when I would say something to really practice the tonality of like love, joy, peace, if I said a scripture, like I was saying it to like my girlfriend, it was powerful because it would bring forth the tonality of that love, like love others how I have loved you, or the peace, be still and know that I am God, or the joy, for the joy of the Lord is my strength. And it would really help me get into that tonality. But it was funny because when I started saying that, all of a sudden I started feeling like, oh, the joy of the Lord is my strength. You know, when I really just started saying it out loud and going for the tonality of it, which is basically when you're trying to go for a tonality like that of joy, you're gonna have a little bit more of a smile, and you're gonna have a little bit more of an energy. If you're a little bit more of an excitement, your eyes gonna widen a little bit. And I kind of worked this through. I was like, why is that? Like, what is that there? Why is that happening? But the thing is that when you start to actually say stuff and getting your body to react, it's like, have you ever gone through your day and just been smiling, like trying to smile throughout your day and realizing that your mood actually feels better? If you've done that, If you haven't done that, do that, try that out. But it's like that same concept. Even if you're not currently feeling it, the more that you're just having that come out of your mouth and having your body start to match that of like, this is the day the Lord has made, let us rejoice and be glad in it, the more that the feeling actually starts to come. And this is a concept that also I remembered in the Bible. There's a story of David when he had lost his women and children of his village and all of his men's women and children. His men start to go against him, they're pissed at him, and he's in this real deep dark place. But the main thing that he does in that moment is he gets down and he encourages himself in the Lord. That's what it says in scripture. And after that, that's where he completely flips his life around. You know, in Psalms, David is always talking about the worshiping God and proclaiming God and the goodness of God. And there's also another part in scripture where David literally is talking about how he's talking to his soul. What he basically says is, soul, why are you down? For put your hope in the Lord. He's telling his soul this. And I thought that was amazing because like, we think that we are our thoughts, or we are our, I don't know, sometimes we don't even understand that we have that soul that we can talk to, that we can get up and encourage and allow it to start realizing. You might know God, and you might actually, a lot of the times what we are feeling is not matching up with what we are knowing. You know God, you know how good he is, you know how much he has for you. But sometimes the feelings aren't matching that, and it can be concerning because it's like, do I not truly believe? But even David had to, we got some birds going crazy over there, but even David had to encourage his soul, lift his soul up, remind his soul of how good God is. And what I realized is that you don't always need to remember a scripture perfectly, but if you can remember the goodness of God, just start saying to yourself right now, set a timer on your phone for 30 seconds and remind yourself of the goodness of God. Just speak it out, just kind of flow with it. What can you do? And if you can't say nothing and you don't really have too much for that, that means that we got to dive deeper into the goodness of God in the Bible. And all we have to do is go into some stories in the Bible. Like for me, I could think about Jonathan. And okay, here's an example. So say you're kind of lacking faith one day. You have anxiety, you're stressing out, you're kind of out of it. You feel so off. You know God and you know he's good, but you're just feeling off. Here's where it comes in. So what you're lacking is faith. So what you can do is grab a story in the Bible and start speaking it to yourself. Speaking it to yourself and feeling and acting and saying it as if you truly believe it. Because you probably do, but it's like, even if your body, your emotions, you're anxious and it doesn't feel like you believe that, if you start to mimic that, the body is going to start to react. The nervous system is going to be like, oh, okay, like we're starting to go into that. And it's reminding yourself and getting strengthened and encouraging yourself in God, just like David did in the Bible. So for me, it would have been like the story of Jonathan. If I had been anxious or stressed, I would remind myself that I would say, God, you are so good. Thank you for the fact that you have helped Jonathan and you were faithful to Jonathan, who decided to go with himself and only one other man to take on an entire army based on faith alone in you. He did this. And you matched him there simply because of his faith. Lord, I will continue to walk today in that faith because I know that you will do the same for every single one of us. That right there, that is where it's coming from. And all of a sudden my body starts to match up. I start feeling less anxious. I start feeling less stressed. But it's amazing because a lot of times in the past, I couldn't do that. I didn't know any stories in the Bible. I didn't know anything in the Bible. So if you're learning things, and you don't have to remember everything word for word, everything perfectly. But let's say you find a story in the Bible. Let's say you find a concept of having confidence in God, having your confidence in God. All of a sudden, you can just start speaking that out. The next time that you feel that anxiety, start speaking out against that thing. Start speaking out into getting more into the peace, love, and joy of God. When you wake up in the morning, do you actually listen back to yourself in the morning when you record your voice and feel that joy, love, and peace? I'm still growing in it. I thought that I was like there. I thought I had all that love, joy, and peace and faith. But I realized how much that our natural inclinations of focusing on ourselves, worrying about what we got going on in the day, just kind of feeling that anxiety, or not feeling the joy of the day, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's kind of like you can kind of just lull through your day and you might not feel terrible, but you might not be in that joy of just like, God, you're so good today, Lord. You're so good. But the more that you're speaking it, I can literally feel it just by starting this for one day, how it is affecting me, and it can affect every single freaking one of us. So when you wake up in the morning, start to speak it. The more that you speak it, the more that you start to become it, the more that your body starts to realize it, and the more it starts just moving towards there. So let's do that every single day, ladies and gentlemen. I love you guys very much, man. Hope you are having an amazing one. I will talk to y'all in the next freaking video, man. We can talk back in the comments, man. Let me know how your animals are doing. Hope your eyes are doing amazing. Peace.